everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Media Picker. My name is Brandon. If you are new here, I am a part-time eBay Macquarie reseller that does specialize in media-related products, mainly CDs, and I do resell them online for a profit. If it's something you're interested in learning about, consider subscribing to my channel. Greatly appreciate it. I just want to thank, first of all the new subscribers I've found to the channel recently. I appreciate every single one of you. I've also, something new you notice in the background of the video, if you look over here, on the left side of the screen, you see a shelving unit there. That's kind of an expansion. I had these tubs that CDs were in, like part of the alphabet. I just didn't have enough room. So I got the shelving unit. It's actually a shoe rack that I've kind of converted into a CD shelf. It's 11 shelves. So it'll hold quite a bit, allowing more to expand over the business. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This video is about CDs worth a lot of money. This is number 7 in the series. I started out about $1,000 and kind of worked my way down. I pulled no box sets. If you find box sets, 10, 15, 20 bucks out places at garage sales, thrift stores, look them up. They could be worth hundreds. Anything Grateful Dead box set wise, as long as it's not overly expensive, I definitely pick those up. Just a couple examples. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen. Get started here. You're going to see a lot of old school hip hop. Some stuff that I double checked at other sites to kind of see how rare some of the stuff is and what they're listed or going for. And so I kind of tried to confirm as much as I could of these being legit sales, because as we know, there's a lot of stuff that's considered money laundering and all this and that. But let me share my screen. Get started here. I don't want to make this too long. I got 20 plus to kind of skim through here. So we'll go ahead and get started. First up, Congo, C-O-N-G-O, creeping on the niggas game officially. It's a rare Rhapsody. Not sure what it sold for. Hundreds for sure. It's just your run-of-the-mill, just brand new seal, just underground hip-hop, and those are the things you gotta look for. Just stuff you've never heard. Looks weird, obscure, odd record labels, stuff. If you know music, there's stuff you just haven't seen. Definitely look for just oddball stuff, because stuff surprises me every single day, even to this day. I've been doing this for a handful of years. Again, sticking around with more underground rap. Southside Posse, Ghetto Soldiers. In fact, I sold a CD similar to this a few years back for 300 plus, and I probably underpriced it because it sold within half hour of me listing it to some guy in West Hollywood, California. Anyway, it was a mid-90s hip-hop. I think they were from Kansas City from the research I could find. It was not this group, but it was another one, and it sold for hundreds. Mine was 300 plus. This one sold for $825. If you look at the original listing, this is for a used CD. It doesn't have to be sealed to be worth a lot of money. So again, just obscure, just generic-looking, weird covers, record labels, stuff like that. Just keep your eyes out for. Never know when they're going to pop up. Again, continuing on, 7FO Till the World Blow Up. This is one I actually tried to comp on another site just to kind of see, is this kind of legit? Is it? Yeah. There's one on another site listed for 900, so, and there's no other ones available. So I'd say this is pretty rare. You come across it. Definitely snatch it up right away. What else we got? Again, more hip hop. Cyclops, Cheat and Death. This actually looks a little more kind of like those like Master P releases. Kind of the vein of that. The cover kind of looks similar to that in my opinion. We zoom in a little bit. This isn't good because it's got cracked case. It looks sealed, but the case is like shattered. Featuring a bunch of other rappers that I've never heard of. Again, just execution style records. Again, if you price anything from that record label, obviously you want to keep that in mind. What goes up, but just stuff I think someone could just dump it off. You can come across it in a bulk buy, or thrift store, or you just never know when you come across this stuff. Not hip hop in this case. This is kind of some AOR. That's rock music of sorts, hard rock. It's kind of like hair metal's kind of early cousin. You want to look at it that way also. But Giant is a band that's considered AOR, and they're kind of borderline hair metal also. Bands like that. This one actually is, again, another rare one that I actually tried to comp elsewhere, and I can pretty much confirm that this is like legit. Definitely one that you want to try and look out for also. Long boxes. These were originally released kind of like the first introduction of CDs, because when records were kind of getting more phased out, they were in these like long tiered where you just kind of flip through. So they wanted to make CDs kind of so you have to switch out displays. They wanted to make CDs kind of the same way. So the CD long boxes obviously are the same length as an actual vinyl record. Record artwork, covers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's like these. If you come across long boxes, I'd say new or used, definitely look them up. Obviously, sealed is better. Hence this metallic one in the garage days. Even this outside the long box, the original release of this still goes for a little bit of money. Obviously, nowhere near close to this. You might be able to sell it for 15 to 20, 30 bucks, somewhere in that range. If you just find the discount zone. So also something to keep an eye out for. This is Spanish rap, I guess. I'm not sure, hip hop of sort. I do know this artist. This is a CD I've never seen before. This is Daddy Yankee, El Cartel. To those Cangries, I guess Cangry. CD. This looks like used. Let's see if we go to the original listing. Good condition. So this isn't even like new or very good. So this thing's probably beat up. Again, has one of those unique jewel cases. That's these are, I think it's No Limit Records, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's Masterpiece label. A lot of his releases under that record label, and also his releases in general, released with these type of jewel cases. Just FYI, so they're hard to replace anyway, obviously, if they're damaged. But again, Daddy Yankee, keep an eye out for stuff. He's got some stuff that's not worth as much, obviously. So definitely just price comp when you see some Daddy Yankee stuff out in the wild. I've sold this before. I'm not sure. I've sold this before twice, actually. I'm not sure how this version's different from mine, or if it's just really gone up that much in rarity. So we're gonna look at this listing a little bit closer here. $600 is pretty crazy. Mine sold like 125, and I think I sold another one for 100 because it was in less good condition. Also, they put a little thing in here. So this is the rarest release. So this is a version that's released to 100 copies. That's what makes it a little different than mine. It's hard to read this. So released 2002. The lack of awareness surrounding the band's time of its initial release. Trying to promote with copy radio stations, blah, blah, blah. So this one's a little rarer than mine. If you come across this CD out in the wild, and it's an actual legit release, because I believe there are some bootleg copies of these trying to go around also. Definitely pick this up. This is a $100 bill, roughly, at least every day, just for the regular version of this. Is not even this limited release edition. So you definitely want to pick up this My Chemical Romance CD. I'm pretty appreciative just the value this thing has. Taproots. Something More Than Nothing. This is probably an initial release. There's a few bands that I collect that are like that. Actually, I have one or two of their albums. Where the initial release is hard to find. It's not super expensive. This is the most expensive one I've seen as far as initial release that probably wasn't really on a record label or a very minor record label. And other ones that come to mind that I would like to get in my collection are from Godsmack and also the band Stain. I think that Godsmack one you're going to see later on in this video. This obviously seems pretty rare. Let's look at the back. Let's see what it shows here. Taproot Sounds, it tells you it was basically self-release, which is why this is rare on this. So definitely one to look out for. I would say it's not impossible to probably find, but probably improbable. See what else we got here. This is some sort of probably death metal, if I had to guess, or hardcore. Overthrow Within Suffering. Let me share the screen, sorry. 1990 epidemic release. If you see early 90s releases of metal stuff, regardless of any band, I definitely look those up. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, just your run-of-the-mill metal CD with just odd artwork and definitely just basic metal band. Just some of them go for insane money, usually because of rarity. Obviously, this one I comped also because I was kind of curious about this one. This is David Lee Garza. I'm not even going to pronounce that. 1990 CD rare. Not sure what it sold for, but I guess is at least a couple hundred. Again, this is probably a used CD, very good condition. Looking at this, I would think this is worth nothing. This is why you have to kind of look this stuff up because it really can surprise you on what the value of some of this stuff really is. I would think this is like a $3 to $5 CD by looking at it. So definitely one you want to keep your eyes out for. Yes, graded CDs is also a thing. You can grade DVDs, you grade comic books, grade cards. I mean, Pokemon is hot for grading. CDs are also with it too. This is actually a rare one on its own, even without the grading, and I'm still trying to find that for my collection. I'll explain why in just a second here. But this is a sealed graded 1994 release of Dragonflies. It's actually a really good EP from Alice in Chains. It's like 7 or 8 tracks. I love Alice in Chains. It's a great grunge band. Do have that. This is my collection among everything else in their catalog. So we go a little closer at this. We're going to look at this. So there were some early releases of this. I'm not sure how many were actually released that actually have what is the actual flies in the little side here of the spine. They're actually just like little plastic flies. My cousin actually found one in a free bin outside his record store earlier this year. I about crap my pants. I think the one with the flies was for about $75. But and this is a sealed one, which is crazy to find. This is like hyper rare when it comes to that. But yeah, so there's little flies. You want to look out for that one. Just a regular copy of this is only worth a couple bucks. The one with the flies that were worth is I think 75 or so, give or take. And then obviously if you can get it graded and it's in like mint condition, yeah, it goes for hundreds. Straight Jacket Killers Reality 2004 release. Again, this is a 100 made limited edition stuff. Again, minor record labels. This is hip hop or no horrorcore. This is like really heavy metal. It's kind of deathcore. Death metal's like cousin, more or less. That's how I'd probably put it that way. People don't understand that music. But definitely one to look out for. Again, 100 made. You're probably not gonna find this. I just thought I'd throw it in there just because of the obscurity of this. What else we have here? I'm not sure about this one. I threw it in here anyway. This is a common CD. Now, the difference between a 12-track version, I went on Discogs and kind of looked at the track list. I did not look it up here, so we're looking at it together. $492 just seems odd for what's $6-7 CD. So we're gonna look at the track listing. See if I can figure out if there's anything really unique about this. Because actually, the version I pulled that seemed to be pretty regular, was 13 track. I actually had another version Creep. So the version without Creep on the end, also like a live version of it, is more rare. You guys know more about this than I do. Let me know. I'm kind of curious, but I don't think it's that rare, but maybe it is. Pretty crazy, and that's in good condition, mind you. Flawless, Living Life Flawless, Crazy Rare 99 OG Press. This is hip hop. This reminds me also again kind of the masterpiece. If you look at the artwork here, again, not sure what it sold for. I'm sure it sold for probably a couple hundred. Again, for a used CD, this thing's pretty beat up. Red Vinyl Records. So keep an eye on this record label also if you come across anything there. Do want to look at that front cover though. That's got like a Master P type front cover if I ever saw one. It's not his record label, but very copying off it or something. But Red Vinyl Records. I would definitely look out for that record label if you're out in the wild shopping, thrift stores, pawn shops, record stores, even a lot of them underpriced stuff. Ignore the Japanese part of this, although it does add value to this. But this one, I want to point out the original master recording. These are more sought after audiophile recordings of these albums, which are extremely rare. This is sealed, I think. Yeah, this is brand new. You see anything that's original master recording on a CD and it's dirt cheap, look them up. There's a handful that aren't worth it much. But then you've got some that are worth definitely picking up. So say you find one for $5 and it sells for $30, I'd probably pick it up. They go up from there, hundreds of dollars. Some of them are rare, new or used. They can go for quite a bit. So definitely look out anything on CD that says original master recording, because you're definitely going to probably have more likely something there is worth some money. About 7 or 8 more here. Exhumer, Possessed, by Fire. I might have shown this one before. This is definitely death metal related. Makes me think I have this in my collection, but I'm pretty sure I don't. $450 this sold for. Again, this is for a used copy. Again, this just looks like a CD I would think this maybe has some value just because it's early pressing. I would think this is probably a $40, $50 CD, not $450, which is pretty crazy. But just your run-of-the-mill, just basic death metal CD. This is probably an early release also because it's made in Japan. Or it could just be a Japanese release that's missing the OBI strip. I did not check the details of the listing. Take a peek. Rare first pressing, made in Japan. Yeah, it's a lot of first pressings for made in Japan or West Germany. Hard to find. Mentions nothing about an OBI strip, so my guess is this is just an early press. It's basically an early US edition that was pressed in Japan, more than likely. But again, like I said, definitely another one to look out for. If you're looking at the harder the metal, the heavier the metal you get into, the more chances that those CDs are going to be worth flipping if you can get them cheap. You start getting into death metal and grindcore and black metal, and there's folk metal, and there's just all kinds of variations of it to definitely try and learn about. Again, another graded one, I throw this one too. This is a common CD. So this could definitely easily be found, probably not easily, but can be found out in the wild, even sealed to this day. It could be in a thrift store sealed, someone just dumped it off. This is like NOS, new old stock. Whole lived through this, seal 94, graded $450. You might be able to find this CD new, maybe for $15-$20 online. Flip it out, send it out to be graded. Grading's probably $50 to $60, I think, roughly, give or take. And you may stand out for quite a while, but eventually it may sell. It's pretty crazy. But this is something I feel like you could actually find out in the wild sealed, or find a way to get it sealed without paying a small fortune, just if you want to try and send it off and get graded. I have not done that yet. I've had people purchase a few things off me, and when I've looked, there were other sellers that were trying to sell graded stuff. So more than likely, that's probably the case. So why is this showing this? I don't know if this is showing in my video or not. It's not. Okay, I'm seeing something on my screen that is in my corner, but it's not showing in the video. Never mind. Ignore me. Also, something to keep an eye out for. The gold Japan discs, new or used. These can go for quite a bit. This is Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bayou Country, sealed, 24 karat gold. And the packaging will usually look like this if they're in the correct packaging. New or used, definitely look them up. New, I'd pick up if you can find them cheap. Used, I would look them up to see what the comps are. But these can go for good money also. This one obviously did sell brand new for $420. How people like music? People, I've been getting hit a little bit by someone in a couple of my videos saying, don't waste your time with CDs. CDs aren't worth a whole lot. Well, I beg to differ. I do this part-time. I'm approximately approaching, this is being recorded at the end of December 2025. You're going to see this in January. I approximately have 2,000 sales throughout the year, again, part-time. and I'm approaching $30,000 in gross sales. So again, this is part-time. This is not my full-time job. I do have a full-time job. I'm trying to scale this up to eventually take over full-time to really increase my volume, but it can be done. There are tools that can actually help you do that. And there's money in CDs. That's why I do these videos, trying to show you guys kind of the types to look for. If you find something, well, great. You may not find this exactly. You may find something similar to it. And that's what these are for. These videos are just for that reason. So for people to say you're wasting your time with CDs and media, I don't think I am. I love it. I have 5,600 plus in my collection. The collection's off over to this side. But it's a labor of love. There's money in it. You just have to know what to look for. Rough estimate in my collection, what it's worth. I have not gone and priced a lot of it lately. I do have some rare pieces. My collection's worth probably about $100,000. So again, there is money in media. You just have to know what to look for. And hopefully these videos are teaching you to do that. Again, a few more left here, so let's just keep going. I mentioned earlier about the Taproot CD. This is the Godsmack one that eventually I would like to get. I did not think it was this rare. Holy crap. Okay. Probably not going to see this in my collection ever unless I get lucky somehow and find it just laying around someplace at a store. This is their debut, so it has original releases like Whatever, Voodoo. These released down here, and then once they got picked up by Republic, I think in '99, they were re-released on that record, which is a self-titled debut. This was, I think, self-released. We'll look at it a little bit closer. This is a used copy, like new condition. It's a promo on top of it. It's got the promo sticker, which is kind of hard to see. We'll look at the track listing. I think a lot of these, Time Bomb, Keep Away, Bad Religion, a lot of these were released on definitely the debut album, and a couple might have been actually on the later album, possibly Awake. Bad Religion, I don't think it was on the first album. Might have been on the second, but I could be wrong. But I would like this in my collection. I have not come across it cheap enough to even fathom it. And at $400, I will probably never see it in my collection unless I get really lucky. I saw this a couple times. I thought it was kind of odd. This is the Selena self-titled. This is, my guess, is probably a Spanish version CD of sorts. $400. This is sold a couple times for this. I dismissed the first one. I'm like, the condition's crap. Acceptable conditions about the low as you can go. And there's only one picture, which also kind of seems kind of odd. Seller is fairly new. They have 71 lists or 71 feedback. Looks like they're selling a little bit of everything. Camera, CD, and just seemed kind of odd as far as the value of this. Rare CD. Could be, I don't know. It could be just a rare release on this, on the record label. It's a Selena CD, so definitely look out for some of her stuff. I've sold, I think it's a Greatest Hits Volume 2 of hers. And I think if you guys have seen this in the past, What Sold video from probably a year plus ago, where it comes underneath the CD tray where it pops up the little hub. Underneath is a locket that has her name engraved on it. I've come across it now twice, and I've sold it both times. One for 100 plus, the other one for like 70. It wasn't in great condition, and I paid no more than $3.50 for either one of those CDs. So definitely look for her stuff. Some of her basic stuff, just like a Greatest Hits US release CD, isn't worth a whole lot, but it might be worth a few bucks where you can pick up, make a little money. But this one just seemed kind of odd. I've seen it twice. So I figured I'd throw it in here, and like it's obviously one they probably need to look out for. This one too, I think I saw his record label a few times. Tommy Wright III, Fell Me Before They Kill Me. Obviously, this is a hip hop CD just by looking at the cover. Street Smart Records, again, another record label to keep an eye out for. It's kind of what caught my attention. Looks like he produced his own executive producer. Here we go. Let's look at this right here. Just kind of see what other ones are on here. I would definitely probably look for any one of these. If you come across any one of these artists, I would definitely probably pick it up if you can get cheap, because these are worth probably 50 plus, if I had to guess, each. Anyway, that's $400 there. And I got one last one, which is probably about $400. This one is from an alternative rock band, which is still around today. And that would be from the band 311. This is Unity, 1991 release, first press. Again, obviously hard to find. Again, one of those releases, kind of like the Tapper one I showed you and the Godsmack one. This is going to fall in that same vein where it's probably a self-release initially they got onto a record label or a very minor record label. What Have You Records, 1991, Nebraska. My guess is the band's probably from there and is a local record label that they released on. Track listing there. I don't recognize any of those songs. But anyway, yeah, keep an eye out for this one also. VG Plus. It's no name or description on it, no history about it or anything. So obviously someone bought it to see what they were looking for. That's all I've got. I hope you got anything out of this. Questions, comments, anything, feel free to throw in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Any grails that you guys have come across that you found that are worth a lot of money and you're hoping they'll flip for good money or have already flipped for good money. I'm curious about what other people are selling. Again, questions, comments, anything from the chat. If you got anything on this, consider subscribing to the channel. Click the like button, which also does help me out. And then click the bell for future notifications, other videos just like this. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you for your time. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.